Welcome to the roller coaster ride of business with Hannah Edwards on Global Voice Radio. Hannah and her guests share the real deal, the ups and downs, the highs and lows of building a business. Here is your host, Hannah Edwards.
Hi guys, and welcome to the roller coaster ride of business. I'm Hannah Edwards, and today I am interviewing the awesome Frederick Entenmann. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Hannah. Pleasure to be here.
So obviously we've connected because of the Global Voice Radio platform. I love it because it's connected me with so many people around the globe. Like I wouldn't have connected with them before now. So obviously you've got a show called Mind, Body, Life with Global Voice Radio. What do you discuss on your show?
Mind, Body, Life, really, I like to encompass any subject in alignment with anything to do with the mind, anything to do with the body, and anything to do with life. Because actually, I came up with that, it's kind of my brand, because I do all three. I just, because I'm an executive coach for like CEOs and entrepreneurs. I'm also a health and wellness consultant, and then also help professional athletes create lasting success outside of sports. And as I say, win the game of life. So yeah, that's all in all of how I came up with that. And it is my passion to help others as well.
It's great when you manage to actually align your passion with, like, obviously your work and stuff like that. I'm in the process of it. I have a full-time job, so I work in care and I support vulnerable adults. I have my virtual assistant business, and I have my business magazine on top, and I have my show. How is it that you came to be a coach?
Well, the point was really, it took some time. It really was, kind of the beginning of the thoughts was when I was playing professional basketball in Germany, actually, and I incurred a injury that ended my career, and I was about to really sign for big monies and break through. It takes a lifetime to reach that point, but my career suddenly came to an end. And actually in college in the States, I had a ruthless, verbally abusive coach who, at that time you're 18, 19, and you just think, well, I can put up with this. You're supposed to be tough. Maybe this is part of growing up, but I didn't understand that, no, actually what I was going through was a major form of abuse.
Yeah.
I don't wish to repeat the things that I was called, or, it's pretty nasty stuff. But I ended up getting post-traumatic stress syndrome through the entire process of being belittled and called obscene things over the years. So it left me shell-shocked. And so during that time, I kind of was more or less had isolating behaviors.
Yeah.
It's a lot of social anxiety, a social anxiety disorder, actually, when I look back. So when my career came to an end, I actually had the time for all this to process. And then in retrospect, looking back, I thought, wow, I really could have used, I didn't even know what a life coach or mentor, what that was. I didn't really surround myself with, let's just say, winners. And I started forming a vision of what would have helped me, what I could have used. And I knew executives, I knew people running companies. I'd heard of executive coaches, and I just thought, wow, there's there's actually a need for professional athletes who we hear of, this not only during their sport and how to handle all the fame and fortune and, millions of dollars coming your way. And we always hear that they go broke or they get into trouble. They become addicts. They have all these issues. And that kind of, the more I thought about this, I thought, I'm going to help professional athletes, whether they're transitioning into real life or they want to keep their marbles together during their career, really help them with purpose so they can actually do more than just their sport, because there's more in you. Your sport doesn't define you.
The sporting industry, it does seem like one where there's so much. You go from this, I want to say, like small-time sports player to this big, massive, like shock to the system kind of like place in your life, and it's just like, well, I bet you get a lot of people that actually struggle to cope with their name suddenly being out there everywhere.
Yes, it's a major issue. Another part of the problem is I primarily deal with men.
Yeah.
Who, being a professional athlete, it feeds your ego. And so a lot of professional athletes that actually need coaching I think they view it, number one, they don't really know just how much it's going to help them.
Yeah.
And number two, their ego is so big, it protects them, and they run from coaching because they think it's a sign of weakness to be vulnerable. And so breaking through has been a challenge. I try to get professional athletes that actually value bettering themselves, more or less.
How did you get your name out there to them to break through?
Well, 2 years ago, I became a best-selling author. I wrote a book called Surviving Sports in the Game of Life. And on Amazon, I hit bestseller. So in the sports genre, my publisher sent me a pic. He said, "Hey, look, it was really, I was up there with Michael Jordan and Steph Curry, and these old-time great coaches, like John Wooden, the late Pat Summitt, who is the greatest women's basketball coach of all time." And then there I was, Frederick Entenmann. So my name got out rather quickly.
I bet that was a shock.
Yes. So it goes to show, if you put something out there, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the start of my path. I put myself out there. And another thing that is really, really big is continually being in alignment with your purpose. So with all the platforms, you really have to take advantage of those.
Yeah.
I'm from a generation where none of this existed. So my challenges have actually been the learning curve of technology.
It's a big thing. I mean, even when I was growing up, I turn 32 this year. So when I was growing up, we were just starting with the internet and stuff like that. So whilst I've grown up with it, there were those few years beforehand where we didn't have it, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, what the heck is this?" kind of thing.
Yeah.
Have you found that all the social media and everything has helped you?
To a degree, yes, and to a degree, no. Actually, I personally find a lot of the social media to be inflated.
Yeah.
I don't think from my standpoint, I often wonder how many actually see what I'm putting out there, because now you have these platforms manipulating the user in the name of the almighty dollar, right?
Absolutely.
So you could put your greatest work out there, And for example, my Facebook personal platform's maxed out, and they give you what, 5,000 friends or something, give or
Yeah.
take. And seriously, I'll put some of my best work out there, right? And might get 20 likes, or so it goes to prove, unless you're paying.
Absolutely.
You have to pay for exposure now. It's crazy. So I'm not sure how much technology is serving me. I actually find I'm kind of old school, and networking is always the best strategy. It's
Yeah.
talk about what you do, network, get on the phone, and tell people what you do. And when they see that you have passion and what your purpose is, they usually get excited and want to help you.
So you were saying about obviously like the amount of friends that you have and then the amount of likes that you get. Facebook do this thing where if your post on like your business page reaches a certain level of interaction, they give you free credit to advertise. Have you ever had that?
You know what? I just recently put a business page up because honestly, it's taken me years to get to the point to where I even figured out I guess the verbiage of keeping it simple and saying, hey, here's what I do.
Yeah.
It literally took me years to get to that point.
See, I actually checked out your Facebook page before we jumped onto this interview. Then you've just set it up and you have almost 2,000 likes on it already.
Yeah.
That's amazing. My magazine, I've had the page for just over a year now, and I've just hit almost 310 likes. So I checked out your page and I was like, he has to have been going for ages. Like, his social media is on point, and you've just turned around and told me you've only just set the page up. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, I put that up about 2 months ago.
That's insane. See, with the Facebook ads, it makes me wonder about Facebook sometimes and whether it is a good platform for business, because I had a post which was one of the latest issues, and I think it's actually the one that Denise, the Global Voice Radio founder, was on the front cover of.
Okay.
Because every month Global Voice Radio has a feature in the magazine. Denise was on the cover of I want to say March issue, but I'm not 100% on that one. And like the amount of likes and stuff, obviously Denise has a large platform, so we shared it all out. The piece that she wrote was amazing. And Global Voice Radio then have a section in it where we feature all the host shows and everything and what days and times that they're on. So from that sharing of that post, Facebook gave me this £10 credit. So obviously I don't know what that translates to off the top of my head into dollars. So I was like, oh, I'll go with it. And I spread it out so that I could make like a week's worth of advertising from it. So I got over 1,000 views on this one post then from advertising it all. However, I got 3 likes to my Facebook page from it. That was it. Out of over 1,000 views, I got 3 likes. And I was talking to someone, and it's all become this platform now. What makes me laugh is the internet was created and given to everyone for free by a man in the UK. So he's created this one.
Yes.
And Facebook then have come along. It's free to join, it's free to create your business pages. Like, they give you this credit, you get this really high numbers and then a really low interaction. So I spoke to someone who had paid for advertising, and she had really low numbers but lots of interaction, and she's got a lot of business from it. And it just goes to show that whilst the internet is free and whilst joining Facebook and stuff is free, unless you're willing to pay for these adverts and stuff, you don't really get a lot of traction from what you're posting up. And as a magazine owner and a virtual assistant, like, I really find that difficult to comprehend when I'm there working my behind off to get myself seen, and then Facebook comes along and is like, well, unless you're going to pay for something, we're not going to actually put it out there as much as you think.
Yes, and to be honest, when I went into business for myself, I used to live on Facebook and try to make connections and work really hard on Facebook. Well,
Yeah.
when the algorithms changed, I just suddenly quit. I literally spend, unless I'm engaged, unless someone wants to speak to me via Messenger or there's engagement, I literally spend about 10 minutes a day. I strategically post and I'm out. I don't give it any energy anymore.
Yeah.
I think there's some ethical issues that
Absolutely.
I have, and a lot of other people are starting to talk, which is, yes, the platform's powerful and almighty, and they have billions of dollars. But when you have a co-founder of Apple say, "Hey, screw you and screw what you stand for," as you're messing with the ethics of the people that support you. Steve Wojciechowski said, "I'm out," and he canceled his account because he doesn't stand for it. I just thought that was pretty cool. And if you have a pioneer like that, kind of put that out there, I just thought, ooh, not looking good.
Well, this is it. Everyone has complained since they've changed the algorithms about the fact that their posts now aren't being seen. And we're seeing a lot of posts up from business pages saying, "I've not had any interaction lately. Have like this post if you can see it," kind of thing. And it's just like, well, it's mad that people are having to do that so they can make sure that they can still be seen. And Facebook have now bought Instagram and Snapchat, which I know a lot of people use for their business. I put bits and pieces up because I blog as well, so I mainly use Instagram for connecting for my blog. I put posts up about like the latest issue of my magazine or my radio show, but it makes me wonder, because I get more interaction on Instagram. I'm now waiting for Facebook to decide, well, we own Instagram, we're going to change those algorithms as well. So I'm waiting for that point where Instagram becomes the next platform that everyone's like, well, no, we're not using anymore.
Yeah, and personally, I love Instagram. I'd say I loved Instagram a year ago. Okay. And it's a shame because I thought it was, again, a fantastic platform. And I noticed as well, the
starting to be like
not as much interaction lately.
Yeah. Like it's literally you go onto it and it's starting to look like Facebook at the top. All of a sudden you get Facebook stories, you've got Instagram stories, which obviously you had before, but they're now starting a feature on it where if you're on someone's story and say like I'm reading your stories and you've put a quote up and I like it, there's now a little thing where you can share that quote that's from someone's story directly to Facebook.
Oh my goodness, I didn't even know that.
I only found out about it yesterday because my Instagram hasn't actually updated for me to see it, but someone put a post up saying, I wonder how many people are actually going to use this.
And Instagram it's, to me, I think it's more of there's a cool factor, it's almost like, it reminds me of trendy clothing. and now, not to point fingers at the younger generation, but they want, it's so important to them, it blows my mind, that they care what people think. They're buying, they're paying, they're shelling out money to buy likes or gain whatever. I mean, you can even pay for a robot to put in comments. So maybe you gain a friend or followers. People that have millions of followers, for the most part, they buy them.
This is it. I've noticed a lot of robots.
It's crazy.
Because on Facebook, I don't know if you've seen it, certain pages do, like, they'll have a day where they'll put up a thing saying, share your Instagram pages here, we'll all go and like it, and then we'll all interact. Everyone goes and likes it, it gets their numbers up. I put my link on one page and I went from 200 and something to like 500 and something followers, which is great. But out of all of those followers, I only get about maybe 2 or 3 that will regularly go through and like my posts. And I'm just like, but the problem is that's then restricting my posts to people that are in those industries. So they might not be in the industry that I want to be seen by, say.
Exactly.
Now it's just restricting that. And I don't think the younger generations are realizing that. And if they all want to go in and start their own business, they're going to have a massive shock to the system when they've got to start changing it, because who wants robots following them? There's no
right.
And there's no engagement.
I find it highly annoying. And the same is going on in Facebook too. You'll get robotic profiles wanting to be your friend. It's bizarre.
It's really strange. So in obviously your line of work, there must be a lot of ups and downs. I've always described business as being a roller coaster, because you can be on that really high point as you're going along, and then all of a sudden you get a massive drop.
Yes.
And it's, for some people, it takes a while before they get up to that high point again. And I think small business owners, they get into that slump and they suddenly decide, I'm going to give up because I'm not getting anywhere. And it could be like 2 days before that massive high again. What advice would you give to them that would encourage them to carry on?
Really, if you're going to go into business for yourself, keep your day job. A lot of people go into business for themselves, and they don't see behind the curtain. Okay, it takes literally years and years and years of hard work. I'm a big fan of Malcolm Gladwell in this 10,000 hour rule, especially since I was a professional athlete. I put in probably 7 to 10 years of really hard work to become a professional. And, you know, when you go into business for yourself, you're competing against other businesses doing the same thing. So how are you going to put yourself above the work they've already put in? That's what it comes down to. And to be bluntly honest, if you think you're going to go and, you know, you can drop everything and you suddenly go into business for yourself, and you think I think some people have a perception the millions are just going to come rolling in.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately not. You know, that's just kind of the big truth bomb. Not to discourage, but I think people just need to know there needs to be more honesty in business.
Absolutely.
I've known people that haven't given up on their dream for 20, 30 years. It took them that long to make it because they just never gave up. I've also known people that got lucky and made it within 5. But I think to answer your question, yes, I have been through some major highs, and I've been through some major, major lows to where I literally wanted to throw in the white flag and just, you know, screw it. I'm done with this. You know, I have a family. I have children I have to support. And when your expenditures in your business are more than your income, and you hit that struggle, which everyone goes through, despite your success, everyone's been through that. It's really what you want out of life. You know, what do you stand for? I'm willing to go through anything to get to my goal.
Yeah.
But I think you also need a backup plan. You know, they say the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. I don't know if that's necessarily true or not, but if you want to be an entrepreneur, you need to figure out a way to have an extra source of income, that's for sure. Because if you go in the business of where you need clientele to keep your business running and to make a living, I would suggest definitely have an alternative source of income coming in, because the hardest thing about, especially what I do, is generating that consistent flow of clientele.
Yeah. And I suppose it doesn't help I see it with my virtual assistant business. Someone will put a post up in a group saying, oh, I'm looking for a virtual assistant that can do this, 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 and this. And before I've even got to the end of that post, 50 other virtual assistants have commented going, hey, I can do it. And I'd always put my name out there, but because I'm so far further down, like you sit there and you're like, well, what is the point in sticking my name there? Because they're not even going to get to my post. They're going to have found the person that they want, like 46 posts up kind of thing. Because, and as well with coaching, I mean, I'm a member of a group because I'm a virtual assistant to small businesses that get to that point where they need help with their smaller tasks so that they can go on and keep getting their like big clients and stuff. And in this group, there are so many coaches in there that like, oh, I'm an empowerment coach, I'm a life coach, I'm a coach that helps you with your business, I'm a coach that does this, or I'm a coach for other coaches. And getting seen when you're in like such a large industry can be the most difficult thing ever. And I don't think people realize that.
Yes, that's another thing. That's why I niched down to where I'm primarily dealing with professional athletes. You know, I have almost 20 years as a like a health and wellness consultant and executive coach. But then when I saw the trend, for some reason, the past 10 years, everybody is a life coach. Everybody's an executive coach.
All of a sudden they've just popped up.
And I just thought, well, what is going on here? I mean, is everyone running out, and is there some kind of weekend certification course that's just popped up, or it's really bizarre.
Yeah.
So I had to really learn, take a step back and redefine myself, because now I guess the feedback is everyone is enthralled because there's no one out there that's doing what I'm doing.
And this is it. And amongst all of those coaches in that group I'm a member of,
right,
there isn't one that says, hey, I do this and it's what you do. And so I think if you joined that group, everyone there would be like, oh my God, we've never thought of that before, kind of thing. Like, because they are all, I don't know what it's like over in America, but over here, you don't really need a qualification to turn around and call yourself a life coach, as long as you've got experiences and you know what you're talking about. You can say that you're a life coach. So I could say that I am a coach to support workers who have looked after vulnerable adults, because I've done almost 6 years in that industry. So I could turn around and say that I'm a coach for you guys that struggle with the everyday struggles that we go through as support workers, because we work with people that have learning disabilities and mental health problems, which can be quite draining. So because I don't need a qualification over here, I could just turn around and go, hey, I'm a coach to this one. And it's like with virtual assistants, as long as you can use a computer, people are like, hey, go and like be a virtual assistant. And I don't think it helps. I don't know if you've seen them, the posts on Facebook that are like the sponsored post, and it's like, hey, we started this company up. Here's the emails that I'm going to give you for free that you can send out over the next 5 days, and you'll get your $75,000 clients coming in as well, because we've done it in 5 days. No one realizes the work behind that.
That's right. And, you know, a lot of those sponsored ads are inflated. You know, I generally just say bullocks. You know, it's like, come on. In these coaches that claim to take people from, you know, the gutter to 6 digits in 3 or 6 months is absolute baloney. Going to 7 digits and 8 digits, work with me for a year. You can't, you know, there should be some regulation. Like, these people should be fined. There's you know, in other professions, you can get arrested for being a phony. Yeah. I mean, you can't make these claims because it's not happening.
And this is it. I mean, the problem is you get that one person who's been in business for so long, and then all of a sudden this miracle post pops up in their feed. And because they've, say, got one client from that set of emails that they've got for free, they go and pay thousands of pounds or dollars to do this course with someone, and when they get to the end of it, they've wasted all that money and they're still not getting any income coming in because
That's
they've
right.
fallen into that trap. And you're right, it should be regulated.
I'm not sure how, but I'm infuriated because I guess it's like the obese personal trainer
Yeah.
that's helping people with their health and wellness. Like, are you kidding me? I'll tell you what I have seen. There are executive coaches that are hired by, let's say Sony or Google or major companies that, yes, they have deep pockets and they're paying that executive consultant probably 6 digits to come in for a weekend. Okay, that's fine. But I want to be clear. It's the coaches, whether it's, you want to label them as life coaches or business coaches, that are, I think we've all seen them. It's ridiculousness. Hey, I'm going to take you from, in 6 months to 6 digits or something like that. Yeah. And people buy that.
And this is it.
They buy the dream. They're hooked by the dream.
They are buying that dream. They're seeing the fancy pictures that what they don't realize is the background in it where these people are stood on the beach are photoshopped, or it's a holiday picture from 7 years ago. And they've decided, oh, we look really good in that picture because it's a professional shot from when we were on holiday or whatever. And they're falling into that trap. I mean, the coaches in the group that I'm a member of, they are all like getting their qualifications. So they're not faking it like the people on the sponsored posts. And even those guys are noticing that all these posts are popping up and people are falling into that trap. And they're like, hey, we're the ones doing all the hard work. We're the ones getting our qualifications that actually have the experience, because we've not just been given money by mummy or daddy to start a business up and we've decided this is what we're going to do. And that's where they've got their 6 figures from. They've got an inheritance, or mummy and daddy are rich and they've just given them the 6 figures. They haven't worked for that in their business. They've just been handed a check.
Yes. And I certainly don't want this, these truths to discourage anyone, but this is what I've experienced. This is what I've seen being in the business for, 3 odd years or so.
Yeah.
So really, I think what's most helpful is you really need to surround yourself by successful individuals that have done it ethically and morally, and are really just honest, good people. They're out there.
They are out there. And unfortunately, with the ads that we're seeing, they're the ones that are getting left behind and not being able to be seen.
Yeah. But I personally have worked very, very hard in increasing my network.
Yeah.
And assuring I'm surrounding myself with people that are 10 times more successful than myself, and having, talking with them, creating real friendships that are going to support your journey.
Definitely.
It's very, very, very important, because trying to do everything on your own, no matter how strong you think you are, I think if I was to give out any recommendation, it is, don't do that. Don't try to do everything on your own. If you have to outsource, do so. I know that costs you a little extra, but it's going to pay off 10 times more.
Absolutely.
In the end. It really will.
Definitely. What's your biggest high been so far in your business?
I haven't had a huge grand high. I guess meeting my goals. When I meet my goals any month, it's the best feeling.
Yeah.
Because it comes together, all the work pays off. I would tell you what my big high would be getting like a A-list athlete. I haven't gotten that A-list athlete yet. Like like a LeBron James, that would be a really high moment, which
I bet they're the ones that actually need your support as well, that are trying to cope with
well,
everything.
yeah, I think it's safe to say every single professional athlete needs a mentor or coach to help them work
Yeah.
on life components, without a doubt.
Definitely. I don't know if you found it because I've always had a job as opposed to having my businesses, although for me, having a business of my own is always
Mm-hmm.
what I've wanted to do. It's been like a shock to my friends because all of a sudden, like, I'm doing this massive shift in my life. And obviously, when you're in the first stages of your business, your spare time is spent on that. Like, have you had your friends or family members, any of them stand there and go, what the heck are you doing, kind of thing?
I can tell you at this point, everyone thinks I'm nuts because I have a family. I have multiple degrees, and yeah, I mean, it's a matter of even understanding what I do is what I've found.
Yeah.
People really don't understand coaching, and in the United States, when you're literally brainwashed from the time you're born to be a civil servant and go to your school and then move into college to where they filter you into a corporate job. It's really weird when people people look at me and they're just kind of like, he's doing what? And they just don't understand.
No, it's like when I've said to people I'm doing a virtual assistant business, and they're like, well, what the bloody hell is that? Like, and I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
the PAs that go into people's offices, I do that stuff, except I do it from home because it actually then, whilst they've got to pay me an amount for doing it, it still reduces the cost for them. And everyone's a bit like, well, why? Like, why would you do that? And I'm just like, because it's what I want to do with my life. And then when I added the magazine, and everyone was like, so you've got a full-time job, this virtual assistant business, and now a magazine. Like, when are you going to get time to see us? When are you going to get time to do this? When are you going to get time to do that? And then I moved right in the middle of it all. So obviously, whilst I was still able to run the business, things went on hold for a little bit. Like, deadlines were extended and stuff. And everyone's like, so now surely you're going to give up these businesses because you have a house to run. Like, you have bills to pay. And I'm like, well, no, I'm not. I've literally converted my attic into an office so that I can carry on doing my businesses. People think I'm insane. And then I did a radio show in on it and my blog. Everyone's like, really? Is there nothing that you don't want to do?
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think it's what you are showing is a form of leadership, because coaches in general, we want to better our environment through bettering other people, and a source of purpose for me is, originally when I went off to college and did all the la-di-da, the cookie cutter American thing, I wanted to be a doctor because I always wanted, so I went pre-med is what it's called.
Yeah.
Where you learn your base education, your biology and chemistry and all that stuff. But I've always wanted to just help people feel better about themselves and gain a sense of true purpose.
Yeah.
That's in alignment with themselves. And, who doesn't want to have more energy or feel better about themselves and increase their productivity and therefore be a more successful individual?
Absolutely.
That's the dream, right? And
definitely.
So I'm still perplexed as to why I guess this field or this career is so misunderstood. Another portion is we have clinical psychology, which is to me like the dark ages. It's like so long gone and dinosaur.
Yeah.
I think coaching is new age. It's progressive. and people just haven't really taken a look at it.
This is, I think with coaching, like when you turn around and you say to people that you're a coach, I think the negative connotations have come for it all, because obviously there was marriage counselling and stuff like that. And I think people try and lump the two together with when they say, oh, I'm seeing a counsellor, to, oh, I'm seeing a coach. And they're like, oh, it's just a new fancy word for a counsellor kind of thing. And then there's that aspect of, well, can't you run your life without having to get someone to tell you what to do?
That's a great point. And in fact, I think there's like a slight hint of guilt or embarrassment about it.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's really, how empowering is it to say, hey, I found a really good coach. I'm investing in myself because I'm going to have this expertise and accountability to better myself and better my life. Wow. You're taking control. And unfortunately, taking personal accountability is also not deemed as worthy either, or deemed as responsible, unfortunately.
And this is it.
Because you're not fitting in.
Exactly. And everything, even in England, it's all about fitting in. As soon as someone and the problem is, even with business, it's the celebrity aspect of it all, where, there's a post, I don't know if you've seen it on Facebook, people will go and buy something by Rihanna or Beyonce or one of the Kardashians, and people are quick to go and spend thousands of pounds. Like Beyonce's clothing line, Ivy Park, is available over here in Topshop, and the price of it all, I'm like, well, I could go and get a sweatshirt like that just because it hasn't got the writing on it or Beyonce's name to it in a completely different store for £5. Yet this store wants me to spend like 50 quid on it, and I'm just like, it baffles me. And then when one of our friends or our family members turns around and says, hey, I'm doing this, and they're like, oh, well, why are you doing that? You need a job, you've got bills to pay, like you've got children to look after, you've got a family and like a house to keep over your head. And because people like yourself and myself, we're not conforming to that go to school, get a job, get married, have children, work until retirement way of thinking, there's no support for it.
Yeah, and something that drives an individual to actually buy those products is they think they're buying the lifestyle. It's crazy, oil slick marketing. And, it's a shame because an individual that just spent $5,000 on a purse or something could have spent that money investing in themselves. And
Absolutely.
Why not create that lifestyle for yourself?
Yeah.
You can't buy it.
And it baffles me. I mean, obviously, I do say every show, there isn't anything wrong with people who want to follow that routine and have a job. Like for some people, that is important to them, but it's that security. And I think that's where people are baffled by the fact that when I eventually get to leave my full-time job and be full-time at home, for everyone else, it's going to be like, but where is your next paycheck coming from? And I'm going to be like, well, actually, because I'm a fan of the multiple streams, so that if there's 1 month where I'm low on one business, I've got the other incomes coming in still. Mm-hmm. And people are just like, well, you're working yourself too hard because you have your job, you have your businesses. I'm like, yeah, but at the end of it, that first thing that you've just said isn't going to happen. I'm going to be working for myself. I'm going to have the freedom to work on the days I want to work, mm-hmm. wherever I want to work. And then I can wake up one morning and go, oh, do you know what, actually, I've got nothing major that needs to be done today. I'm going to go out for the day.
Yes, I love that. I love that component and aspect of being an entrepreneur, actually. You can choose when you want to really hone in and focus. Absolutely. So you have a day off and you can go wherever you want. The freedom is really great. But I think the illusion, not to interrupt, sorry.
Fine.
There is no 4-hour work week.
No, I hate that. Like, It's been all over Facebook at the moment, and it started popping up on Instagram of buy this and that, like, we'll encourage you to get your 4-hour work week and you're going to make millions in it, and you're just like,
no, that's craziness. That's absurd.
I don't know why people fall for it.
Even Tim Ferriss himself, if you know Tim Ferriss's lifestyle, he works 80, 90 hours a week.
Yeah.
And it's, I've got a major issue with that.
Yeah. I mean, the illusion for people is when you become an entrepreneur, you can like just decide this, that, and everything else. They don't realize that building up to when you can turn around and say, I'm going to have a day off today, it is 80, 90, 100-hour work weeks. Even when you've got the full-time job while you're building up to it. I mean, I do 40 hours in my care job, sometimes more. This week I'm almost hitting 50. And then I'm going to be, obviously, like recording with you today. I've got another recording later. I've got like appointments that I've got to fit in, virtual assistant work to do, and a magazine to sort out. And it's all going to be whilst I'm trying to fit in time with my partner as well. And people don't see that. Like I say to people, I've spoken to people who've gone, oh, I've got an hour to spend on my business at this time and an hour to spend on my business at that time. Why isn't it working? And I'm like, my phone comes with me when I go to the bathroom to clean my teeth. When I'm stood in the queue at a shop waiting to pay, every little bit of time that I have is spent responding to emails, getting myself out there. It's not one of those, I'll do 4 hours this week and 6 hours next week kind of lifestyles. It is hard work.
Very hard work. And in fact, I've found a correlation with the individuals that are claiming to be making millions. And you know what? Because I've paid close attention, they don't have children.
Well,
and I know so many of personal friends and acquaintances and people online I've met from all over the world that are attempting to be life coaches or coaches in just the whole spectrum of the coaching industry. They do have children. They do have regular lives. They're grown adults.
Yeah.
When you, I guess it's for people that are even thinking of going to business, and also tying in with ups and downs that I've gone through. When you throw children into the mix, I can't even begin to describe the layers, the challenges of even trying to be successful as an entrepreneur, because you are constantly pulled in multiple directions. And focus is key. Focus is so key.
Because I don't have children. I won't be having children. But I have the full-time job where I can have 1 week where I'm on 30 hours, but then the next week on my rota is like 40, 50 hours. And then I'm like, and I've still got to fit the business in. I have health issues that some days I'll wake up and I'll be like, okay, today I had all these plans and my body is saying, not a chance. I mean, last weekend, I woke up with the best of intentions to sit and get everything done. I fell back to sleep before I'd even had a chance to finish responding to an email because my body was just like, no. I made it downstairs for 11 o'clock in the morning, and then I slept straight through the day and straight through the night because my body was just like, well, you've done a 50-hour work week, you've done 60 odd hours on top of that for your business, you've then been out and about doing other bits and pieces. Now I'm about to turn around and not let you do any of it. And I think people think that it's easy being in business for yourself.
No way, no how.
Definitely not. It is hard.
And that's really people that are in business for themselves won't admit that, like on this podcast. No matter what interviews I've ever done, you can ask anyone, I'm completely honest and open.
Yeah.
Because it seems like no one else is being honest and open.
Definitely. I mean, I sit there and I've been open on the show before where me and Denise have been chatting, and I've said I've had days where I've sat there and thought, what am I doing? And I've been ready to chuck in the towel and completely give up. And I know for myself that when those thoughts start entering my head, because giving up is not an option for me. So when those thoughts start entering my head, well, I need to take a few days away from it. So I go quiet on social media. My posts are scheduled so that they're still going out. But personally, I go quiet on social media. I literally spend 2 days, if I've got 2 days off one after the other, sat on the sofa in my pajamas, watching absolute crap on the television, just so that I want to say my brain is dulled out from all of the voices in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And then after those 2 days, I'm like, do you know what? I can do this. Because you push yourself so hard in business that I think people think that it's not okay to turn around and say, well, I'm struggling and I'm not sure I want to do this anymore, but I do want to do this because I don't want to be seen as a failure. And this is the problem with the society that we have. Once you start doing something, if you stop or you change your ways, people think you're failing. And that, like, it's a difficult thing to break through, because I'll take a couple of days out and then I'll have people going, oh, so you're not in business anymore then? We're like, you've not been responding to bits on social media and stuff like that, like you're not doing it. And I'm like, I took a couple of days off. Do I ask you if you've like quit your job because you've had a couple of days off, like that you're entitled to have?
Right. In perception is crazy.
Definitely.
You know, what I guess is called our so-called modern reality is it's craziness. People want to fit in. They want to compare. And if you don't, like I said, fit into this perceived reality, you're really, you know, if you want to call it a failure, or they'll fit you into some kind of box, right?
Definitely.
And give you some kind of title and judge you. But going back to what you said, you know, since this is a business type podcast, what technology do you use to automate your posts?
I will use Facebook Scheduler because they don't really like outside scheduling. But then for my other platforms, I use Buffer. So I will sit there and schedule it all, because I've tried Hootsuite and stuff like that, and their user face for me just doesn't work. Whereas Buffer is so simple. It's literally like 3 clicks and your post is scheduled. Because you've got time to sit there and be like, oh, well, I've got to do this, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do this, before you've even got one post scheduled. With Buffer, you click on which platform you want the post to go to, you add the photo if you need to, you type the text, you choose the date and time you want it to go, and then you hit schedule. And it's so simple. I love it.
And this is called Buffer?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's free, which is even better. You can pay for
wonderful.
it. But there is a limit to how many accounts you can have on there unless you pay for it.
I see.
Like, I mean, for someone that has so many accounts that they need to pay for it, then it makes me wonder how many income streams they've got coming in, because I've got, I want to say 4, maybe 5 accounts on there, and that's free for me.
Okay.
And I can schedule everything on there. I could put Facebook on there if I wanted to. But I mean, Buffer is even easier than the Facebook scheduler.
I personally have not heard of Buffer, so
you should definitely check it out.
Might have to give it a whirl.
I think they should start paying me, because I recommend it to everyone. I'd be like, Buffer, I start needing some of your profits now. There
you go. You could see if they'll sponsor you before your podcast.
Yeah, there you go. I think I might have to take a look at that one soon.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to wrap this up. Can you tell people where they can find you if they want to know more about you?
Yes. If you want to link in professionally, I'm on LinkedIn. That's actually my preferred platform, since it's so professional. I'm also, as we discussed, I'm on Facebook. My business page is up as Frederick Entenmann. I'm on Twitter if you want to send out a tweet. I'm also on Instagram
Fabulous.
Take your pick.
What day is your show out for anyone that wants to listen?
My show is out on Fridays at 10 a.m. That's Eastern Standard Time in America.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining me. I've actually really enjoyed our show today.
Yes, thank you. Likewise.
And I will hopefully have you on the show again soon.
Great. Sounds good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Join Hannah Edwards and the roller coaster ride of business every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Global Voice Radio, where your voice is heard.